Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is at its core a game about warband, Zizka's men. First the mercenaries at Nebakov, later the Devil's Band wrecking Sigismund's war behind his own lines. And Henry is left running errands for them. He is little more than a frontline soldier who follows orders. He never commands anything. So I fixed that. This mod is called Mercenaries and makes Henry a proper warlord. You hire your own men, they fight for you. You have to manage their logistics and ensure that they rest in your own war camp. And then find them something worth fighting. Bandit camps, Sigismund's patrols, raids on your camp, and at the end of it, an entire siege to lift. I'll showcase all of this in this video. Here is my company, about a dozen men right now, and a few of them are archers. The first thing you will want to do is change their equipment, because right now they resemble bandits more than disciplined soldiers. You have quite a few options already, and I will add more later. To honor Henry's heritage, I will dress them like Skalit's soldiers. This set needs an additional mod installed, since my 3D art skills are laughable. There, now they look like an actual unit, beautifully organized and disciplined. Let's start with the camping feature on this beautiful open field. First, take a look at my hut. There is a new icon there, and it means the men are hungry. It can also tell me about injuries, extreme tiredness, and a lack of wages. To do anything about that, I need a camp. You set one up by looking at your men and holding E. The same button breaks it down again. And there it is. Nothing big yet. One group of tents around the fire. That tent circle is the basic building block of the camp. Hire more men, and you get more of these circles, and the whole camp grows with your company. 10 mercenaries gets you one campfire and a few tents. 50 gets you a proper army camp, something that can rival Sigismund's army camp. 50 men is the current limit. I can raise it significantly, but if your PC wasn't exactly built by NASA, it will start to struggle. You can put this camp almost anywhere on the map, within reason, so no tents on people's roofs, but nothing stops you from turning the suburbs of Gutenberg into one giant mercenary slum. This is the player tent. You can sleep and save here, and this is the central NPC of this mod, the quartermaster. He is your interface to the entire logistics system, and also gives you a bunch of settings to tweak the mod to your heart's content. You can also hire med here, and hand over all the supplies you want here. There are 3 ways to keep your company stocked with food, drink, and wages. First, you hand him real food. Any food item in the game works. Sausages, sauerkraut, whatever you have been carrying around. And the men will eat it. No questions about the source of their meal. Second, you give him groschen and let him buy everything himself. And don't worry about corruption. He is totally honest. Third, and this is the most efficient one, you get it from somebody else, with their consent of course. Every encounter in this mod gives you supplies. So one slaughtered group of enemies is usually worth 1 to 3 days of food and drink. Wages work the exact same way. Drink is optional. If you give them drink, morale goes up and they fight better. If you do not, you lose nothing. You can have a company of very sober serial killers. But if the food and the money run dry, they start deserting, or might eventually even mutiny, and that is of course totally implemented in the mod. These are the camp improvements, and the important part is that all of them give you different bonuses. A supply cart gives you extra food for a few days, a hunting lodge provides you with a small amount of food indefinitely. There is a smithy, and you can walk up to it and use it just like any other smithy in the game. This one is my favorite, the makeshift inn. A few tables, some food on them, and the men will come over, sit down, eat, drink and talk. Give them a moment to notice that I built it. It gives morale a boost and improves the aesthetics of your camp a lot. You can have as many improvements as you like. There is a total of about 5 of them, which if all combined make your camp look very lively. And then you can also build a personal alchemy bench to practice all your hobbies out in the field. So let's quickly build that. I of course won't bore you by showcasing how you can actually brew in it, since that would make for a very boring video. But here it is, just like any other base game asset, fully functional. And now my favorite one of them all, the palisade. It looks the best and it does the most for your camp's security. You place it by left clicking and marking down corners, so you are basically drawing a shape on the ground. It costs you 2000 groschen at once, and after that you can build as much wall as you want. So yes, if you have the patience and the frame rate, you can create a second Gutenberg wall. Let me just finish this one. You can place your camp anywhere on the map, except of course on the roofs of existing buildings, so theoretically, if you wanted to, you could turn Gutenberg into a gigantic mercenary slum. And there we go. This is my little private fortress, not very carefully placed, but you can put the corners wherever you want, so you can make it almost round or follow the terrain properly if you are less lazy than me. And it does the job. Raiders have to come through the gate. You can walk through that gate yourself, so you never get stuck inside your own camp. And you can also open and close it through the quartermaster. And speaking of raiders, look at this. A patrol walked in while I was building. Those are Sigismund's men, judging by their armor. The mod uses several enemy groups: Prague soldiers, Gutenberg soldiers, Cumans, bandits, looters, and of course Sigismund soldiers. And they are not all the same. I'm not sure they will attack the camp directly, so I will engage them myself. And if you want to take your men out without losing the camp, and you do lose it, palisade included when you break your camp, you just tell the quartermaster how many men you are taking. Me? I am of course taking everyone who can walk. You can also leave a few men behind to hold the camp. Right then, to the task! And they have spotted us already. The spotting range is small on purpose, so if you do not want the fight, you can usually just sneak around them. My archers have set up on this hill to shoot over our melee fighters, though I have no idea how they shoot through those trees. Apparently, they can see through vegetation. I will not take part in this fight, because my combat skills are bad enough to make anyone cry. It should still go our way, even though these are Sigismund soldiers and Prague soldiers are the two strongest enemy groups. Bandits and looters can be easily slaughtered. This lot will probably cost me a few men. And they do cost. Men who die out here are gone. But you can still go back to the quartermaster and hire replacements. You can even hire almost any vanilla character to fight for you. Anyone. From Zizka to Sigismund, hell, even Henry's father, Martin, because why the hell not? One warning though, your archers will sometimes shoot your own men in the back, or even you. Please don't execute them for that, they do try their best. Anyways, let's just quickly enjoy this little skirmish. And the battle is won. 2 days of food, 2 days of wages, and a bit less than a day of drink, taken from the men who were carrying it totally voluntarily. And that is the whole point of the supply system. My men will now loot the bodies, but do not worry, they do not take any gear. You can still loot every one of these soldiers yourself, and if you really looted all of them properly, you would be the richest man in Bohemia. And home we go. Next, a bandit camp. You get those from the quartermaster. Henry is voiced here, because I reuse voice lines from the base game. The quartermaster is of course not voiced, and I am sure he is fine with that. When you take the bounty, a bandit camp spawns somewhere on the map. This one spawned over here. There are about 10 of them and they are built so that they can hold 20 to 30 men. So even a big company still has work to do. They are proper camps too, not 3 tents in the fire. Some of them sit on interesting terrain, so you usually will be fighting an uphill battle against them. But the loot tends to be worth it, and here we are. They get the same improvements as you, some of them also get defenses, like these archer towers. You can build those yourself too. I put these 2 on a mill so that they shoot down at you. Do not worry, once the melee fighters are dead, those 2 come down on their own. So you do not have to climb up there. Just waiting for my men to catch up a little bit, and here we go. Hello gentlemen, now you shall be slaughtered. And yes, I do try to strike up a conversation with them. Sadly, they never answer. My archers are already shooting. Like I said, I am not a good melee fighter, so I will spare you that horror. And we will watch this from above instead. Those two on the roof are quite annoying, but mine are shooting back and hopefully aiming better. The camp does have its own archers, which sounds worse than it is. Once their melee fighters are dead, archers are a little more than crying babies waiting to be slaughtered, so deal with the men on the ground first. The camps always spawn some loot as well. There is usually one chest worth finding. This one has some really bad gear in it, and a nice pile of groschen, which I will yoink. And there is a nice pile of bodies out there, so you leave a lot richer than you came. Now for the other direction, because they also come to you. Bandits raid your camp. They spawn somewhere outside and run at you. And if you have walls, they have to come through the gates. If you close the gates, they will not attack at all, which is either good design or just a regular old exploit, depending on how you look at it. You can also help your men. This is an archer tower, a small fortification with an archer on top. He will spawn in a second, and then he shoots at anyone who attacks you. I will place a lot. There is no actual limit on these, mostly because I never bothered to add one, and I trust you to be a bit more sparing with the mods features than I am being right now. So yes, with this number of archer towers, this camp is now pretty much completely invulnerable. And here you go. The camp's defenses from above, pretty much an impregnable fortress. And now, for one improvement I am quite proud of, the archer card. It is a small nod to the Hussite wars, where men fought out of war wagons, much like this. It is basically a tiny fortress that you can put almost anywhere. I will place it outside the wall so you can see it working in action. They shoot out of it, attackers cannot really reach them, although they will try, and enemy archers can still kill them. Instead of waiting half a day for a raid to spawn on its own, I will just cheat one in. Because why not? And my men are already reacting. They gather at the gate, and they do not go out, because there is no reason to give up walls we paid for with a tiny pile of groschen. And there are the attackers, coming up the road. That is Prague armor, so this will be a tough fight. And there go the cart archers. Let's watch this from a nicer angle. And that is the idea. They shoot the attackers before the attackers reach anyone important. That one is already badly hurt. And there he goes, turned into a pincushion before he could even swing at someone. With more archers, this can get very one-sided. The tower archers are joining in now. The attackers wait a bit for my men to gather before they commit, so you always have time to get ready instead of being jumped in the middle of a sentence. They also brought their own archers, specifically to deal with mine. Raids scale like everything else here. The bigger the better the company is, the bigger the group of enemies will be. But I balanced it so that you should generally win. Though you can adjust the difficulty with the quartermaster. This is not a tower defense game, and a raid will not wipe out your camp. It is there so that the camp feels like something you actually can lose. Which brings me to the last part. The mod also adds a fully voiced side quest, about 2 to 3 hours long. It is called Kleinkrieg, and you start it by talking to a man called Alexei in the Hole in the Wall Tavern in Gutenberg. And yes, he is voiced by me, so keep your expectations low. The quest is mostly what you have seen already, clearing camps and hunting patrols, but every camp in it is custom made and not recycled from the base game, and there is a real story running under it that unfolds between jobs. I won't spoil it, so let's skip to the ending. This is Raborsch. If you do not know it, it is a closed castle on the edge of the Gutenberg map that the game barely uses at all, so I gave it a war. Take the last job with a big enough company and a full siege camp spawns around the castle. That is a mixed army down there. Gutenberg men, Sigismund's men, Prague soldiers, even humans. They have their own supply camp, which pays very well, and a lot of archers, who are currently busy shooting at the defenders on the wall. Beat them and the siege is lifted. The number of archers and enemies scales with the size of your band, so don't worry, if you are trying to solo this, you won't have to fight 10-20 different archers. Right, so let the battle begin. They have seen us, in we go. It's a very big fight, but you can win it. I hired 50 men for this, which is a bit over the top, and you can hire more and have an even bigger battle if you want. But at some point it just becomes chaos and the performance suffers a lot. There's also a slight issue with a lot of combatants that the engine begins to struggle, and basically combatants begin to pop in and out of existence. Alright then, those are their last reinforcements coming in, and they do not really stand a chance. If that looks too easy, that is enough. And you can raise the difficulty through the quartermaster. I would do that if I were you. And that is pretty much it. Hire men, feed them, house them, fortify them, and kill something. And I died. They do not appreciate being recorded. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the mod. Have a great day. Cheers.